After confessing my feelings to my boss, he rejected me. Heartbroken, I asked for a raise instead, and he agreed. I thought my romantic pursuit had come to an end. I planned to set my sights on someone else. My boss became anxious. Office romance is forbidden, he said. Unless it's with me. Ding! Wisnovel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. I'm sorry, but I don't have feelings for you. Lucian Ford's expression remained cold as his elegant fingers held the documents. He kept his eyes on the papers, not sparing me a single glance. I felt like a complete fool, having just confessed to my boss. I froze, my mind racing to find something to say. Well? Are you still here? Lucian closed the file and looked up. His moonlight-pale face showed a hint of surprise, though his voice remained calm. Say something to break this awkward silence. My thoughts were spinning wildly. Suddenly, the gears in my head ground to a halt. Mr. Ford, could I perhaps get a pay rise? Bloody hell, what are you saying? Astrid Reed, you absolute muppet. The moment the words left my mouth, I knew I was done for. Would I be sacked on the spot with just a compensation package? Though that might not be so bad, actually. But my years of secret crush had come to an end today. My eyes started to water, and I felt a lump in my throat. Just as I was about to apologize and flee from his office like a coward, I saw Lucian's thin lips curve slightly, the sunlight from the window highlighting his features. He raised an eyebrow, then gave a slight nod. Okay, I'll send a message to HR. What? I stood there, stunned. I'd been rejected by my boss, but he'd agreed to give me a raise. Lucian opened his laptop, his long fingers tapping a few keys. I see your performance reviews are quite good. Would a 50% increase be acceptable? What? We'll implement it from this month. I'll inform accounting. I walked out of the office in a daze, having secured a salary 50% higher than my colleagues. The end of my secret crush left my heart feeling both sour and tight. But I couldn't keep the grin off my face. I'd got my pay rise. Lucian Ford truly was my hero. I definitely hadn't been wrong to fancy him. Well, being rejected is quite understandable, isn't it? After all, he's the golden boy, right? After getting home, I thought for a while and opened WhatsApp to send Lucian Ford a message. Mr. Ford, about today, well, it was just because I lost that dare game. Nothing more to it, please don't take it seriously. He didn't reply. 10 minutes later, I tried again with different wording. Mr. Ford, I'm really grateful for the pay rise you gave me. Actually, when I said I liked you, I was just joking. We've known each other for so long. If I had feelings for you, they would have shown up ages ago. It's actually a local tradition where I'm from, to tell silly fibs to people today. 20 minutes passed, and still no reply. I lay in bed tossing and turning, feeling so awkward I could dig myself a hole to the Pacific. Mr. Ford, I'm off to bed now, you should get some rest too. Your good health is crucial for the company's continued success. Bloody hell, I want to die. I checked the time, 8 p.m. Who the hell goes to bed at this hour? But Lucian still hadn't replied. I could pretty much guess what he meant by it. He doesn't like me, so he's not giving me even a shred of hope. LOL, what a considerate man. Never mind, at least I have cold hard cash to comfort me. Damn it, but why? My eyes are leaking again. I'm still hoping Lucian Ford might reply to my messages. But I waited the whole evening like this, until I had dark circles under my eyes. His profile picture never lit up in my chat window. It's not that he hasn't seen the messages. At 9 p.m., he was still in the workgroup chat, assigning tomorrow's tasks. It's just that he simply doesn't want to reply to me. I've had a secret crush on Lucian for a long time. Lucian was my senior at university. We attended the same university together. He was in the business school, while I studied computer science. Even back then, he was a prominent figure on campus. From a wealthy family, with refined and elegant features. Many people were attracted to him, but he never accepted anyone's confessions. At that time, I was just a small-town girl who got in through good grades. and chose the most lucrative major. I had to work part-time just to buy my first laptop. My mom ran a breakfast stall to support my education, so I started selling breakfast sandwiches on the street near the university. My business was doing well, which made other vendors jealous. A group of burly men came and destroyed my stall. One of the vendors threatened me. "Listen here, Missy. Try setting up your stall tomorrow and see what happens." He roughly pushed me, and I fell to the ground. They knocked over my cart too. Eggs and cookware shattered everywhere. I helplessly tried to protect my cart. A crowd gathered around to watch. Some wanted to speak up for me, but the thugs spread lies. "She's a homewrecker who cheated my brother out of his money. Don't feel sorry for her." The crowd started murmuring, afraid to get involved and unsure what to believe. No one came to help me. That's when Lucian appeared like a sharp blade cutting through the darkness. He was wearing sportswear and carrying a badminton racket. Seemingly just finished exercising. He stepped between the man and me in the morning light. His voice was cool. "She's a student at our university, not a homewrecker. Please stop slandering her. I've already called the police. They'll be here soon." Lucian turned to me and asked, "Are you able to stand up?" Just those few words made me, who had been holding back tears until then, burst into tears. When the police arrived, Lucian accompanied me to the station. He clearly explained what had happened, and those thugs were detained. Since I had been slapped and pushed down, Lucian helped me secure £10,000 in compensation. As we left the police station, I kept thanking him. He calmly replied, "It's all right. I know who you are. You won 3rd place in the National Electronics Innovation Competition. Your research area has some connection to my family's business, which is why I remembered you. Those people won't bother you anymore. You're impressive, working while studying." Just those few words of praise made me blush instantly. I was about to respond modestly when Lucian's phone rang. He apologized and quickly answered. A girl's sweet voice came from the other end. "Hey Lucian, where are you? Come home quickly. I'm at your place for dinner. Your mom asked me to call you." I watched as his cold expression gradually softened. It was like a night-blooming Sirius slowly opening its petals in the darkness. I thought that girl was Lucian's girlfriend. But later, I learned that the girl was Vera Sanders, Lucian's childhood friend. I had seen her on Twitter. She came from a wealthy family too and dated many boyfriends. Some were minor celebrities, some were social media influencers, and some others I didn't recognize. All of them were handsome, but never Lucian. I had seen photos of Vera and Lucian together. The caption read, "My dearest, best brother." Perhaps they were just friends. That's what I naively thought. Later I discovered it was a sad story. Lucian loved her, while she loved playing around. Lucian could only accompany her silently. Later, Lucian invited me to join his studio, which he had started since university, asking me to help with some projects and paying me for it. I was very grateful to Lucian, as he helped me cover my university living expenses to some extent. In my 3rd month working at Lucian's studio, he found out I was using a second-hand computer. He gave me a new one. "This will help you work more efficiently." Like a hot chestnut suddenly bursting open to reveal its sweet, soft flesh inside. A feeling called love rapidly spread from my heart. I suppressed these feelings, considering them sinful and inappropriate. Until in our final year, Vera unexpectedly got pregnant and got engaged to another wealthy heir before they went abroad to study together. I kept thinking, maybe now I could allow myself to have a secret crush on Lucian. But I still held back. I just silently loved him, not daring to disturb him while his heart was going through a rainy season. After working with Lucian at the same company for 3 years, I couldn't control my feelings anymore. I confessed. And got rejected, lol. It was too embarrassing. I wanted to avoid Lucian. Lucian was always disciplined and self-controlled, usually the first one to arrive at the office. I knew if I wanted to avoid him, I should come in late. But that day, he was late too. Just as I stepped into the lift and was about to close the door, A pale, slender hand stopped the closing doors. I looked up to see Lucian in his black suit, walking into the lift with his usual cold expression. It was just the two of us in the lift. The air seemed to grow tense. I felt so awkward I could curl my toes, quickly turning my back to the lift doors. Like a primary school student facing the wall as punishment. I frantically scrolled through my phone, playing Fat Goose Gym, trying to ease my embarrassment through the merge game. Until I heard his cool voice. "This is your floor." "Yes." I snapped back to reality, almost stumbling out of the lift. I walked quickly away from the lift, but couldn't help looking back. The doors were almost closed, but I clearly saw it. The corner of his lips had curved into a smile. Throughout my education, I've been taught that success comes to those who work hard. I want to give it my all. Because I truly like him so much. No one wants to be a substitute forever. At least I need to try once to see if I have a chance to get in the game. I want to display all my best qualities to him like a peacock showing its feathers. I want to show him the value he could gain by being with me. Even if I give it my all and he still doesn't feel anything, I won't regret it. I carefully consider how to pursue him without disturbing his life. The first step is to work hard and create value for myself and the company. Since Lucian is now leading our development project, I decide to start my efforts there. I've reduced my bathroom breaks at work. I've also stopped gossiping and chatting with other colleagues about the management. Every day, I just focus on coding. My unusual behavior is quickly noticed by my desk neighbor, Caleb. Caleb is a professional slacker. And he's quite dissatisfied with my newfound dedication to work. With his dramatic brown curly hair, he looks like a curly-haired puppy when he leans over. This curly puppy is both my colleague and gossip buddy. He seems to know all the office gossip, perhaps that's just how database engineers are. Caleb watches me typing away at my keyboard and clutches his bag of crisps in distress. His beautiful amber eyes are full of pain. Has something happened at home? If you need money, I can help, but you're being such a corporate slave these days. I ignore him. I heard Caleb comes from a well-off family and is just coasting here. But I can't afford to do that. Moreover, I want to increase my favorability with Lucian through hard work. I casually pull out a protein bar from my drawer and hand it to him. "Here, take this. I need to work for a bit longer." Caleb takes the protein bar and steps back in surprise. Astrid's gone mad. At this moment, a colleague nearby pats Caleb's shoulder and says, "Excuse me, I'm off to take my paid toilet break." At least someone's still normal, Caleb sighs in relief, patting his chest. The curly puppy moves closer to me. And my ignoring him only makes him more persistent. "Did you hear about what happened with the receptionist?" "I'm coding, not interested," I reply coldly. "Then do you know about the hate mail that planner on the second floor received?" "Shut up." "Well, do you want to know a secret about our boss Lucian Ford?" My ears perk up. "I suspect he fancies men." Comes the triumphant voice of the puppy who's finally caught my attention. Get lost. Besides working hard to show my value, I decided to improve myself, like a peacock showing off its feathers in front of Lucian. I took off my large-framed glasses and put on contact lenses. I replaced my hoodie and sweatpants with a fitted business dress. When I went to the office wearing this outfit, Caleb spat out his bubble tea. A tapioca pearl flew through the air and landed right on my tie. I frowned as Caleb quickly strode over with his long legs and carefully picked the pearl off my tie. Sorry, Astrid." "Humph." I gave a cool smile, still aware of how good I looked today, and walked back to my desk with an air of indifference. I was nervously looking forward to today's regular lunch meeting, certain that Lucian would notice how pretty and cute I looked today. I had some confidence in myself. After all, I usually just couldn't be bothered to dress up. I sat up straight in my chair. Caleb sat next to me, wearing an orange hoodie with a trendy anime character on it. He seemed a bit uncomfortable and leaned over to ask sheepishly, "You look so formal today, I hardly dare speak to you. Can't I dress up if I want to?" I rolled my eyes at Caleb. No, what I mean is, you look really nice when you dress up." He grinned with his bright smile, showing his pointed canine teeth. If even Caleb complimented me like that, surely Lucian would notice. During the company meeting, however, Lucian didn't look at me once. He kept his attention on the other subordinates, explaining the PowerPoint presentation in his cool voice. I felt disappointed. How could he not even glance at me? So many people at the office had noticed me today, yet he hadn't paid any attention. I was still the last one to leave work. When the elevator doors opened, I saw his tall figure in a suit inside. Lucian stood before me, his face as fair as moonlight, and I hesitated whether to enter. Basement 2 or ground floor? The man inside had already asked, moving to press the button for me. Ground floor. I hurried into the elevator. Another moment alone together. My cheeks flushed red as I wanted to say something but didn't dare. The air felt thick in that instant. It looks like rain tomorrow, his cool voice came from above my head. Noted, I replied instinctively like the humble worker I was. What I mean is, remember to dress warmly. I looked up reflexively and saw a small, dazed version of myself reflected in his eyes, clear as a still lake. I went home in a daze. Lying in bed, my heart felt like it had been shot multiple times, with roses blooming from each bullet wound. He must have been showing concern for me, right? The next day, it did rain, and I wore my hoodie and sweatpants. When I walked into the office, I looked at the desk beside mine. Caleb was sitting there in a black suit, sitting up straight. And when he saw me come in, he turned and grinned at me. When you like someone, it's easy to read too much into things. Every little sign of kindness makes you think you have a chance. Just because Lucian showed concern for me, I felt hopeful again. I know Lucian has an unsweetened iced Americano every morning before starting work. Each morning, I leave an iced Americano on his desk. At the bottom of the coffee cup, I always stick a note. Good morning. I'm sorry, I'm such a schoolgirl. Being single for so long, I really don't know how to pursue someone. I secretly observed that Lucian seemed to drink the iced Americano. He drank it. In my mind, him drinking the coffee equals him liking me a bit, which equals him falling for me later, which equals us deciding where our children will go to school. Dear Lord, I'm feeling confident again. I'm sitting at my desk, grinning like an idiot with my face in my hands. Come on, I just dressed up a bit formally, no need to be so starstruck. Though I admit I look quite dashing, said Caleb with his curly hair, wearing a black suit. His cheeks slightly flushed as he struck what he thought was a cool pose with his hand on the chair. I gave him a glance and replied flatly, whatever. Don't you think I still got it? Caleb grinned, showing his canine teeth. Whatever, whatever, whatever. Suddenly, the office fell silent. I looked up, and sure enough, management was here for inspection. My gaze immediately focused on Lucian. He stood tall and elegant, his long fingers holding the coffee cup, their joints slightly pink. He looked handsome from every angle. They say the person you're infatuated with always has something you lack. I suppose that's why I'm attracted to this cool, mature man. Probably because I'm such a schoolgirl. I was watching Lucian when his eyes suddenly met mine. I couldn't look away fast enough, and our gazes locked. He gave me a small but gentle smile, like a sword bathed in spring water suddenly catching a falling cherry blossom petal. My face instantly turned red. I quickly lowered my head, thinking, he smiled at me, right? Does that mean I might have a chance? This gave me the courage to message him when I wouldn't have dared before. That evening, I sent him a message. I think I have hope again. May I pursue you? He didn't reply. I felt more motivated to pursue Lucian. Every morning, I would bring him breakfast, cycling through 3 streets on a rental bike to buy pastries from the old bakery. At work, I diligently wrote code, completing my tasks perfectly. I enthusiastically supported every proposal Lucian made. People in the office started talking behind my back, calling me a company bootlicker. I suspected Caleb was spreading these rumors, given his big mouth and lazy nature. Due to my intense work schedule, I developed a fever. Today, I left right after work instead of staying late as usual. Halfway home, I realized I'd forgotten my charger, so I went back to the office to get it. When I reached the office door, I heard voices inside. They were loud, and I heard my name. Astrid left early today, not working overtime anymore? Why try so hard for such little pay? Just sucking up to management. What difference does it make to her when the project gets finished? Those were my colleagues' voices. Feeling dizzy from the fever, I stood outside, unsure whether to enter. Suddenly, I heard an angry voice rise above the others. Like a dog growling. Shut up! Astrid finished her work early. And she's been staying late working on your code. Because you're too slow and sloppy to meet the requirements. Look who's talking. It was Caleb defending me. Yes, I had been staying late to fix my colleague's code. I couldn't help it, I wanted Lucian's project to be completed sooner. My headache was getting worse. And I felt cold all over, though my forehead was burning hot. I gripped the door handle but couldn't bring myself to push it down. I couldn't face them. I turned and took the lift downstairs. The fever made me dizzy. And I didn't even notice when the lift reached the second basement car park. But what I saw there instantly cleared my foggy mind. It was Lucian. In front of him stood a beautiful woman in a white suit dress. I recognized her as Vera Sanders. Vera looked stunning, elegant and sophisticated, holding a large bouquet of white roses. Lucian was holding a little girl's hand, with a gentle smile on his face. So Vera had returned to the country. They must be together now. I'd never seen Lucian smile so tenderly before. Those usually calm, deep eyes were now filled with gentle warmth. I hid behind a black car, silently watching them. I saw Lucian give the little girl the beautifully packaged pastries I'd cycled 3 streets to buy for him. I saw him open the car door. And Vera gracefully slid into the passenger seat with a radiant smile. The fever must have gotten worse, my face felt like it was on fire. I steadied myself against the black car. This was the car park. And Lucian's Mercedes moved slowly, having to pass by me to exit. My fever was too high, my head throbbing, tears threatening to fall. Through my blurry vision, I watched his Mercedes slowly pass in front of me. I'm certain, absolutely certain, that he saw me. His car didn't hesitate for a moment as it drove past. As if he had never intended to stay in my world at all. I stared numbly at his car's retreating silhouette. The heartache and burning fever overwhelmed me all at once. I couldn't hold back anymore. I crouched down and began to sob. I'm sorry, I'm so pathetic. In that moment when he drove past me without a glance, I finally understood one thing clearly. I had no hope at all. I had always been nothing but a fool. I've decided to give up on Lucian. I confessed my feelings, I tried my best, and I explored every possible path. I feel like I've done everything I could to make things work. Since it's beyond my control, I might as well accept it gracefully. I changed Lucian's contact name from my crush to Mr. Ford. I drew a clear line for myself, I won't bother him anymore. I stopped bringing Lucian coffee. I no longer walk several blocks to buy him pastries. And I've stopped messaging him on WhatsApp. For work convenience, I've gone back to wearing no makeup. And swapped my pencil skirts for hoodies and joggers. To thank Caleb for standing up for me, I brought him some pastries. Caleb's eyes crinkled into crescents as he smiled. He leaned in to whisper while nodding and munching on the treats. Huge gossip, our ice-cold boss apparently has a girlfriend. My heart ached, and I pressed my lips together without saying anything. Our colleague, who had been facing away from us, suddenly seemed interested and spun his chair around with excitement. I know who she is, apparently she's the Sanders heiress, divorced with a child. I mean, with Mr. Ford's credentials, surely he could do better than a divorced woman? What's wrong with being divorced? She's divorced, not a criminal. It's not some kind of stain, Caleb snapped. The male colleague, taken aback, turned his chair back around muttering. Fine, fine, hope you end up with someone like that then. I thought Caleb had quite proper values, so I gave him a thumbs up in approval. His crescent moon eyes brightened even more. As he scooted his curly head closer to continue gossiping, Caleb said, Mr. Ford's no good if you ask me. He's stiff as a board, who wants to live with someone who gets up at 5 a.m. for running every day. He had a point there. I was giggling at Caleb's whispered criticisms of Lucian when suddenly the office went quiet. I heard our male colleague's violent coughing. I looked up, startled, and the air in the office seemed to freeze. The air conditioning felt too cold all of a sudden. There stood a slim, proper man. His eyes slightly downturned at the corners, expressing a cool detachment. It was Lucian, and his tightly pressed lips suggested he wasn't pleased. My legs turned to jelly. But Caleb remained unfazed, putting on an act of leaning over my computer saying, "Look, this is where you made a mistake in the code." As if we were discussing work. Though my screen was still showing the desktop wallpaper of blue skies and green fields. Lucian approached us, completely ignoring me while addressing Caleb. "Let's review your progress." "Done a bit," Caleb said casually, "only a third complete." This guy was truly brave. Seeing Lucian's darkening expression, I grew nervous. "This needs to be completed this week. Or it will affect the subsequent integration," Lucian said coldly. "Yes, yes, yes," Caleb replied with a grin. Lucian remained unmoved by Caleb's smile. After a pause, he said with a deep gaze, "Complete your work before chatting. Astrid is very busy as well." "All right, Astrid, we'll chat after work," Caleb said offhandedly. I nodded in confusion. Lucian didn't say anything else. But that evening, Caleb couldn't join me for dinner, he had to stay late at work. Caleb sent me a WhatsApp message. "Boss is in heaven." After the project was completed, Lucian announced a barbecue at his countryside villa as a team-building activity. Caleb privately complained to me. "Going for team building on a rest day, what a git. No wonder he's single." I couldn't agree more. But what could we do? When the boss speaks, who dares to object? We had to put on fake smiles as Lucian drove us there in his MPV. Our project team was quite large. Those without cars would go with the boss, while others would drive themselves. Everyone received £200 for travel expenses. Lucian asked in the WhatsApp group. "Who's riding with me tomorrow?" The group fell silent. "John, Mike, Peter, Astrid, you'll be in my car." "Caleb, Astrid can come with me. I'll pick her up." "We're all leaving from the office." "Caleb, perfect, she can just ride with me then." "Astrid, thanks boss, but I'll go with Caleb." The company group chat fell into dead silence. On the third day, Caleb glared at Lucian, who was dressed casually. With a calm face and gentle voice, Lucian said, "My car's restricted today, so I won't be driving." "Caleb, you don't mind if I ride with you?" Lucian had at least 3 cars, surely they couldn't all be restricted today? Caleb, though visibly annoyed, couldn't refuse. He forced a cheerful tone. "All right then, Astrid, you take the passenger seat." Lucian looked at the cute Kuromi sticker on the passenger seat. Apparently newly applied, with Babe's seat written on it. He smoothly opened the passenger door and sat down. I took the back seat. Caleb turned to me with a smile. "Connect your Spotify, let me hear what kind of music you like." I glanced at Lucian from the corner of my eye. He remained calm and didn't object. I turned on Spotify. I quite enjoy Western music, particularly Taylor Swift's songs. The melodious, gentle voice filled the car. It was my favorite love story. In the quiet car, with the romantic intro playing, Caleb surprisingly started humming along. "You know this song?" I asked, surprised. "Yeah, I love it too." "What a coincidence." I felt the joy of finding someone with similar taste. "I followed you on Spotify and listened to all your favorite songs. They're quite good, seems we have similar taste," Caleb said cheerfully. "Oh." I checked my phone in surprise. "So you're that one follower I have on Spotify?" "Yep," Caleb replied, unable to hide his pride. Somehow, the car fell silent. There was a cold stiffness in the air. We had been chatting away, seemingly ignoring our boss in the passenger seat. I felt awkward but really didn't want to make conversation with Lucian. After all, I didn't want to give him the wrong idea anymore, or disturb him. Since it was already awkward, might as well go all the way. I steeled myself and continued chatting with Caleb about our favorite music and artists. We talked until we reached our destination. As soon as we arrived at the villa, Lucian calmly opened the door and stepped out with his long legs. The moment he left, Caleb muttered, "What an eyesore." I gave a bitter smile and followed Lucian out of the car. Lucian's villa had a spacious outdoor garden. complete with tables and chairs, a barbecue area, and even a bar counter. Us ladies were handling the simple tasks, and I sat at one corner washing fruits. Across from us, the male colleagues were enveloped in smoke as they manned the grill. Everyone had initially been a bit annoyed about having a barbecue on their day off. But as more people arrived, the mood lightened with laughter and chatter. Even I, despite my earlier bad mood, couldn't help but smile. I noticed Lucian approaching me with some grilled skewers in his hand. His eyes were fixed on me, seemingly eager for me to try his grilled meat. I was somewhat surprised and instinctively wanted to avoid his gaze. But he continued walking towards me with determined steps. Just as he was about to reach my side, Caleb, with his curly hair, suddenly jogged past him and extended his hand, offering me a grilled chicken wing. "I made this, want to try it?" he asked. Through Caleb, I saw Lucian stop in his tracks. His usually calm face suddenly darkened, and he gripped the skewer so tightly that the oil dripped onto his sleeve. Something that would normally bother such a neat person. But he didn't seem to care at the moment. Caleb's chicken wing drew my attention as it reached my lips. After taking a bite, I said, "It's delicious." I smiled at Caleb, my eyes crinkling. "Then I'll grill some more for you." My compliment seemed to have greatly encouraged him, and Caleb rolled up his sleeves before quickly returning to the smoky grill. After everything was cooked, we all sat around the tables, drinking and chatting. Everyone took turns toasting Lucian, and he kept drinking, one glass after another. Under the lonely moonlight, his stained sleeve was now rolled up to his arm, revealing his beautifully toned muscles from regular workouts. His usually calm and gentle demeanor had transformed. His entire body seemed tense, the veins in his hand prominent as he gripped his glass, showing a strength that was usually concealed. I'd had a bit to drink and needed to use the bathroom. I asked Lucian where the toilet was. Lucian stood up and said, "I'll show you." Everyone at the table was caught up in conversation and laughter. No one paying attention to us two. Caleb seemed to notice and was about to stand up, but a male colleague held him back for another drink. I followed Lucian into the villa, feeling slightly tipsy. I thought Lucian would just point me in the right direction. The villa was large, decorated in Lucian's characteristic clean and minimalist style. He led me to the bathroom door. I thanked him and went inside. The toilet was spotless, and I lowered the seat cover to relieve myself. Suddenly, the bathroom light went out. No, not just the bathroom. All the lights in the villa. The outdoor lights went out too. I heard chaotic and panicked voices outside. Bloody hell, can a mansion have a power cut too? I had just finished using the toilet and was hastily cleaning up, pulling up my trousers to stand. The bathroom had no windows, and without moonlight, everything was exceptionally dark. Why did rich people need such massive bathrooms anyway? And it was particularly dark. I tried to feel my way to the bathroom door, following the path I remembered taking when I entered. While searching for the door, I tripped over something. I lost my balance and fell to the ground. In my desperate attempt to find support, my arm knocked over a bottle on the counter. The sound of breaking glass was crystal clear in the silence. And suddenly the bathroom was filled with a faint mixture of musk and cedar fragrance. "Are you all right, Astrid?" I heard Lucian Ford's cool voice from outside. Not just his voice, but also the sound of the door being gently pushed. "Sorry, it's too dark." "I fell and I think I broke your cologne," I said. He didn't respond. The bathroom door lock clicked, and the door seemed to close. The bathroom suddenly became very quiet. I could only hear his trembling and deliberately softened breathing. His silence and breathing made me inexplicably nervous. He was like a wounded soldier on a battlefield, suppressing emotions of pain and struggle. I became frightened and tried to stand up by pushing against the floor, but accidentally touched the glass shards that had scattered in front of me. The glass shard pierced my palm, and I cried out in pain. Then I felt a shadowy figure looming over me. The breathing got closer, and Lucian's nose was almost touching my forehead. "You're hurt, don't move. Let me help you up." "I'm sorry," I said nervously, my voice shaking from the pain in my palm. Because it was so dark, all other senses were intensified. The scent of cedar and musk lingered in my nose, along with the faint smell of alcohol on Lucian. His warm breath on my forehead made me increasingly nervous. Suddenly, I felt a large, broad hand grip my wrist. And then, as if finding its target, it slowly but dominantly covered the back of my hand. "What are you doing?" My voice was almost breaking. "I can get up by myself." In the quiet room, I could only hear his breathing and my heart pounding like a drum. "Astrid, I'm jealous." That broad, warm hand squeezed mine. And he forcefully placed my injured hand against his chest. I felt my blood seeping into his shirt, and I could feel his heart beating beneath it. "I think I've fallen for you." His voice, once calm as still water, now rippled like waves in a dark pool. Hoarse and deep. "Astrid, do you still have feelings for me?" Warm lips seemed to press against my forehead. And my mind went blank at that moment. Suddenly, Caleb's shout came from outside. "Astrid, are you okay?" "I've found the main control panel, the lights will be on soon." With a beep, all the lights suddenly blazed on, like a blinding sun. The bathroom door was kicked open. At this moment, Lucian was gentlemanly helping me up, his voice calm and gentle. "You fell? Are you all right?" "I'm fine," I stood up, pretending nothing had happened. But Caleb's amber eyes were fixed intently in one direction. I followed his gaze. It was the bloodstain on Lucian's white shirt. Seeing Caleb's dead stare, Lucian's usually cold face suddenly broke into a smile. A gentle, almost shy, yet somehow eerie smile. That night on the way back, none of us spoke. Leaning back in the car seat, I suddenly realized something. The small stool that had tripped me. When I first went to the bathroom, it had been neatly placed under the sink. That evening, I received a notification from Spotify. I got another follower. I didn't pay much attention to it, as my mind was filled with what Lucian Ford had said to me today. "Astrid, do you still have feelings for me?" It would be a lie to say I didn't. I still had feelings for him, but I was scared. Yes, I was afraid. That day in the dark room, his heavy breathing and that almost manic smile. I was scared because this wasn't the Lucian Ford the first knew. The Lucian I knew was gentle and refined, dignified and cool. A senior who would help others, a self-disciplined and ambitious leader. Not someone who seemed like a dark, deranged madman. After that day, I got promoted. My office moved to Lucian's floor. To be precise, my workstation was directly opposite Lucian's private office. There was a camera pointing straight at me. I felt uncomfortable, restless. Caleb was also upset. When I was packing my things to move, he tugged at my sleeve and said, "I'll talk to the management, let you stay where you are. Why do you need to change workstations?" But clearly, Caleb's protest was futile, and I still had to move offices. I continued my daily routine of coding, but I constantly felt a gaze watching me. It made me put on an extra jacket. Before leaving work, I received a WhatsApp message from Lucian. "Stay for 2 extra hours tonight." Why should I? Bloody hell, Lucian was being such a dog. Triple pay. All right then. Lucian, my wonderful boss. After everyone had left the building, I sat in the office continuing to code. Triple pay was quite tempting. While I was happily typing away, the door to Lucian's office opened. Lucian walked out wearing a suit. I looked up and said, "Evening, boss." Only after saying this did I realize that in this vast office, it was just Lucian and me. Lucian walked to my desk, casually pulled up a chair, and sat beside me, watching me code. I felt nervous, but my hands didn't stop, tap tap tap. The room fell silent except for the sound of keyboard clicks. Then I heard his gentle voice. "Do you remember my question from before?" "Huh?" My typing paused, the keyboard falling silent. "Do you still like me?" "No, not anymore," I replied almost without thinking. I wanted a normal relationship, not to be a clown, a lovesick fool. After saying this, I immediately looked at his face. But he had somehow moved behind me, leaning down with his hands on my keyboard. "There's an error in your code here." His voice was gentle as his long, slender white fingers lightly tapped the keyboard, correcting my mistake. I suddenly realized how small I felt, trapped between him, the office chair, and the computer in this tiny space. As if I was enclosed in his embrace. "I don't like you anymore," I repeated. This isn't right. I didn't like feeling trapped. He straightened up, withdrawing his hands, his eyebrows slightly raised. Astrid, we're both adults. In just a few days, you've changed your mind? Why won't you give us a chance? We've known each other for so many years, we know each other well. His voice was gentle, almost hypnotic. But then I remembered that day in the car park, which pained me. I had to be direct. That day in the car park, I saw you with Vera. As soon as I said this, Lucian's expression seemed to freeze for a moment, his brows furrowing involuntarily. Vera and I aren't what you think. She's planning to divorce, she has a child. She came to me that day asking me to help her contact a lawyer for her divorce case. I did see you, but it was an urgent matter, Lucian explained. Lucian's smile faded, and his face showed an expression of concern. As if thinking, so this is why you won't accept me. He seemed ready to explain everything clearly. I've had feelings for you for many years. Even confessing to you took me a long time to gather the courage. I looked into his clear eyes and spoke word by word. That day, I had a fever, but I still insisted on working because you were in charge of the project. I finished my tasks and helped my colleagues, just wanting to complete everything early. I was dizzy with fever and accidentally pressed the wrong lift button. I ended up in the car park, where I saw you with Vera. I know there's nothing between you and Vera. If there had been anything romantic, it would have happened long ago. I just realized that you still fancy her. You fancy her so much that you can't see me standing in the corner. Or perhaps you did see me, but you just didn't care. I paused, with a bitter smile. I fancy you, I pursued you because I wanted to be your lover. To be the protagonist in your eyes, not forever a substitute, not someone hidden in the corner. You never tried. How do you know you wouldn't become my protagonist? Lucian looked at me, a flash of sadness crossing his eyes as he almost desperately grabbed my hand. I pulled away from his grip, looking straight into his eyes, my voice steady. I did try, Lucian. I tried hard. Every day, I would cycle through several streets on a rental bike, crossing 15 traffic lights, just to buy you those pastries you said you loved. My voice unconsciously rose. It wasn't just after I confessed. Before that, during university, when I worked at your studio. Day and night, your office water cooler never ran dry, did it? I arranged the replacements. There was no lift to the 5th floor, and the delivery man wouldn't carry it up. I carried those 5-gallon bottles up 5 flights of stairs myself. After our first successful project post-graduation, at the celebration party, you got drunk. I couldn't drive, so I cycled you home. You collapsed in a flower bed, and I cried as I pulled you up and carried you home on my back. Later, when you became the boss, you never lost control again. I knew about your stomach problems. So there was always a box of stomach medicine in the office snack cabinet. People would take them, but they'd be replaced the next day. Lucian, from university until before I confessed, I appeared in your life so many times. Did you ever really see me? At this point, I felt as if a weight had been lifted. The stone pressing on my heart, making it ache with uncertainty, finally fell and shattered. Tears rolled down my face involuntarily, but I gently wiped them away. It was over. It's not just about that day in the car park. You could say that was the final straw. Lucian, I'm truly giving up on you. Throughout my speech, Lucian's brows remained furrowed. What was he thinking? Had he finally remembered all those moments I'd been by his side? It didn't matter anymore if he couldn't remember, because it was all in the past. I fancied you, I devoted myself to you, all of it was my willing choice. You didn't notice, so it's only natural that I'm giving up now. Outside, darkness had fallen, and lights began to twinkle in the high-rise buildings, like stars in an ink-black sky. Our room was just one of those bright stars. In the light, Lucian's expression was particularly clear. He seemed to remember something, his lips moving. He wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. Finally, he took my hand. I watched his composed expression crumble piece by piece, saw his deep-set eyes grow red. His voice was hoarse. Astrid, I'm sorry. It's all right, Lucian. We can be friends. It's all in the past, and I don't fancy you anymore, I smiled candidly. I shrugged with feigned nonchalance when suddenly Lucian's voice broke through. But Astrid, I can't accept this. After that day, I returned to my office downstairs. We both tacitly avoided mentioning what happened that night. The next day, however, I found 2 boxes of pastries on my desk. I checked my phone and saw WhatsApp messages from Lucian, along with photos of him riding a rental bike. I rode through about 6 streets and past 15 traffic lights. The road was long, with vehicles and street vendors blocking the cycle lane, making it quite congested. I had to keep stopping and starting. Only when I traveled this route did I understand what you went through. What were you feeling as you made your way through the noisy crowds and dirty streets? I didn't reply. Since when did he start writing essays? I went back to my old studio today, which was just a house I used to rent. The landlady was surprised to see me. She told me many things I didn't know. Apparently, you were the one who changed the water, cleaned the place. Even the money plant was kept alive because you watered it. Lucian started bringing me breakfast and small cakes every day. He said, "You can stay where you are or step back, I'll be the one chasing after you now." After some thought, I replied, "Some things, once lost, can never be found again. I just want us to be friends, or simply boss and employee." The typing indicator kept flashing on his end, but no message came through. It seemed he was carefully choosing his words. After a while, my phone chimed. Lucian, who was usually concise and clear with work messages, rarely sent such long texts. "Astrid, you're a wonderful person. I've always known you're wonderful. Before this, my life was predictable. I never thought I'd fall for you, but I did. When I saw you sitting with other men, laughing, I felt jealous. The jealousy nearly overwhelmed my reason. I wanted to pull you away, even use my position as your boss to rebuke them. Astrid, I like you. I always thought I liked Vera because she'd been by my side since childhood. But when I lost her, I didn't feel regret. Yet I know with absolute certainty that if I lose you, I'll deeply regret it. I've never felt so helpless and remorseful before. I just hope you'll give me a chance to prove myself." I can't do nothing. After reading Lucian's messages, I honestly felt his situation resembled my past self. I stared blankly at the elegant cake on my desk. Suddenly, a fluffy head popped up beside my shoulder. "Astrid, why are you staring at that cake? Let me have a bite." Caleb appeared with his cheerful smile. He casually leaned close to me, but it didn't feel intrusive. Rather, it felt quite natural and friendly. "Go ahead, help yourself." I had barely finished speaking when Caleb eagerly opened the cake box. With a soft rustle of silk wrapping, a delicate card fluttered to the floor. Just as I was about to pick it up, Caleb quickly stepped on it. He picked it up curiously and read aloud in his clear voice. "Wishes you a pleasant meal." "That's all it says on the card," Caleb said, folding it and tossing it into the bin. Due to the excellent subsequent returns of our development project, there were rumors in the company that Lucian would be returning to headquarters. At such a young age, he was already a senior executive. His future would be limitless after returning to headquarters. Lucian told me, "The company is transferring me back to headquarters with a new target. I plan to take you with me." Returning to headquarters meant we would be moving to a first-tier city, and might even need to travel abroad frequently in the future. We would basically never return to the city again. "This is Lucian's hometown," he said. "Vera will always be in the city, and I'll hardly ever see her again. I'll let her handle her own matters. Let's go to headquarters together." Lucian's eyes held a predatory gleam as he gazed at me steadily and said, "You've always been the protagonist. I won't even give others the chance to be supporting characters. Even if you don't choose me in the end, your salary and career opportunities will double once we're at headquarters." "Astrid, I'm only taking you," he said in a low, slow voice. "Just like university days, will you follow your senior?" His voice was as seductive and husky as a siren's, offering the most alluring treasure. Even if I didn't like him as a person, it was hard to refuse the salary and career opportunities. Once we went to headquarters together, in an unfamiliar place where I'd be working under him, Lucian was confident he could wear down my resistance. Damn, he was so clever. I couldn't outmaneuver him. While I was hesitating, Caleb sent me a WhatsApp message. Astrid, come downstairs, I'm outside your building. Puzzled, I peeked out the window. And indeed saw Caleb in the dim evening light, wearing a gray hoodie with his brown curly hair. He seemed to spot me and grinned in my direction. I hurried downstairs in my slippers. What's up? To make up for eating your cake last time, he said, holding out a cake box. I recognized the brand logo. It wasn't available in our city, only in City X. It was a trending brand. You went to City X? I asked. I saw online that you're supposed to buy this cake for someone you like. I drove there and back in a day. Caleb's eyes crinkled with his smile, clear and gentle. That's quite a journey, I said, not yet catching his meaning. Suddenly, I seemed to realize something and looked up at him, slightly dazed. His cheeks were flushed, and his eyes sparkled like diamonds under his curls. Astrid, I need to apologize first. That day I threw the card in the bin. It was actually Lucian's confession. He stammered, seemingly afraid I wouldn't forgive him, anxious and urgent. I was foolish that day. Actually, I'd noticed long ago, I've always liked you. He looked up and said loudly, his eyes bright as he gazed at me. My heart skipped a beat. His sincere gaze met mine, and in his beautiful amber eyes, I could see a small, blushing reflection of myself. I know you and Lucian went to the same university. And I can guess about you, him. Caleb mumbled, lowering his voice as if reluctant to acknowledge it. His head drooped like a dejected puppy. Then, gathering his courage, he said, but I know you haven't accepted him, so I think I still have a chance. I have to tell you, or I'll regret it forever. His passionate, impetuous gaze struck straight at me. Rather like how I used to be. I unconsciously gripped the cake box tighter and said, what if I reject you? Even if you reject me, it's okay. Confessing is about expressing feelings, not demanding a relationship. I'm confessing because I want to tell you that you're a really wonderful, excellent person. The curly puppy stood before me. And I realized just how tall he was, nearly 6'3". With his straight posture, his face had turned completely red, like a ripe fruit. The streetlight illuminated his features brightly. His brow was furrowed, and his eyes blazed like intense flames as he looked directly at me. Not with possession but with passion and sincerity. I'm a little moved, but not enough to accept your confession, I said quietly. I plan to go back to headquarters with Lucian. I see. Caleb's tense shoulders finally relaxed, and he shrugged with feigned casualness. That's all right, we're still friends, aren't we? His eyes darted around as he looked at me, and I noticed his eyes had turned red. The puppy's voice was already trembling with tears. Not knowing how to comfort him, I quickly apologized and went back upstairs. From my window, I saw Caleb standing there, wiping his eyes roughly before turning to leave. A while later, I received a WhatsApp message. It was from Caleb, a cute sticker of a happy cartoon puppy. Caleb, Astrid, as your good friend, I hope you do well at headquarters. If you're ever unhappy, just give me a call. I went to the headquarters with Lucian. Lucian knew I wasn't ready for a relationship yet. And he didn't push me. We both focused on our work. The main reason was that there were too many office politics and scheming at headquarters. Although he was clever, splitting his attention between me and work left him overwhelmed. After a month of working at headquarters, the company transferred another person in. Rumor had it that they followed the CEO's orders to parachute in someone with connections. We all went curiously to see who it was. What met our eyes was a tall man with dimples when he smiled. Hello everyone, I'm Caleb Smith. I've brought Starbucks for all my new colleagues. Lucian stood behind me, his expression dark. Extra chapter. Lucian learned that Astrid had married Caleb. That day, though he never smoked, he sat at the top of the building, watching the glittering city lights through the floor-to-ceiling windows as he lit a cigarette. His lonely face was shrouded in smoke. He had lost. Actually, he had known he would lose early on. That man called Caleb Smith was the CEO's only son. With just one word, he could have prevented Astrid from coming to headquarters. But he hadn't done it. If it had been him, he would have controlled Astrid. He liked control, disliked the feeling of things slipping from his grasp. Caleb had come to see him once. He wasn't really as cheerful and simple as he appeared. He had asked Lucian, "What is love?" Loving someone means keeping them bright, free from anxiety and emotional drain. That man was direct and clear. I confessed to Astrid 62 times before she accepted me. At that time, Lucian was still defiant. He took off his suit jacket, deciding for the first time to properly punch this impudent boy. But then, that man smirked at him. He said, "You made Astrid emotionally break down many times." "I never did." "Lucian, you made her doubt many times whether she deserved to be loved. You made her get used to being ignored. I, who came after, had to fix all of this bit by bit. When she chose to accept me, she had thought it through carefully. When she chose to give up on you, it was the same." Lucian's cold rationality crumbled before this man. Lucian still maintained adult dignity. His voice low, feigning calmness and indifference. "If you don't treat her well, I'll still have a chance." "You'll never have a chance again." Caleb smiled brilliantly, with a sharp and bright determination that cut through everything. Later, those words proved prophetic. After 3 years of smooth dating, Caleb gave Astrid the most passionate and romantic proposal and wedding ceremony. Lucian couldn't describe his feelings. He was almost 30. He shouldn't be so emotionally volatile about relationships like a student anymore. But Lucian curled up on the leather sofa. The room pitch black except for the towering buildings outside. And windows lit up one by one. His tears seemed to flow uncontrollably from his eyes. The most regrettable thing isn't missing out but losing. What you once had, but didn't cherish. Only realizing after losing it. The most difficult to accept.